All right, so I'm going to tell you a story. And then I'm going to give you 5 lessons. And again, our theme today is overcoming adversity. Good morning, Taylor. Hi, Amy. So let's go back in time. And I've got a personal story to share with you. And if you knew me back then, you know what's happening. So in 2016, I fell down. Now, I wish I could tell you I was skiing a black diamond, in Aspen or Vail, but that wasn't the case. I was walking across the street in my neighborhood. I stepped into the street, and as I came up on the sidewalk, I looked at my phone, and because I was looking at my phone, I tripped over the sidewalk, and I did a belly flop. Now, Mary is on this live this morning, knows the story because she was the one I was talking to. I'm not blaming you, Marianne. I'm totally blaming me, right? I did a belly flop so hard, it knocked the wind out of me. My glasses flew. My phone flew and cracked. People came running up to help me. I was in urgent care within an hour. The result of my fall was I had a hematoma on my left knee about the size of a grapefruit, and I fractured. I'm not blaming you, Marianne. I fractured my right wrist. So over the next 4 weeks, there were so many lessons of overcoming adversity. I'm bringing this story back up today because with COVID, I have been leaning on these lessons, and I thought this would be a perfect story of mindset for today. So lesson number 1, life happens. It's how we respond. Okay, life happens. It's how we respond. And for those of you that work with me, I coach on this all the time. And this was a painful opportunity to put what I practice, right? To put what I preach into practice. So here I was at urgent care. I'm in the waiting room. My neighbor drove me over. And it seemed like in a split second, once I got to my senses, my life flashed before my eyes. Like I knew I was hurt. Like I definitely knew I was hurt. And I started thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with a cast on my wrist? I'm too busy for this. Like I have speaking gigs every weekend for the next 2 months. Like, how am I going to do this? And then I started thinking, how am I going to write? How am I going to travel? How am I going to present? How am I going to eat or wash my face or dress myself? Like my neighbor sat there and watched me. He's told me this after the fact. He watched me in a matter of minutes, just sitting there with ice packs on, staring into space, till all of a sudden sitting up and literally moving into a high level of stress and anxiety. And I knew from all my training, all my coaching, that this was what I call my moment of choice. This was one of my moments of choice. When adversity hits, we've got that moment. When adversity hits, we've got that window of time where we get to choose how we're going to respond. This was my moment of choice.